Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Abby, Jordan, and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. And we will just get started. Logan, what did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
Lots of testing for ProQuests, because those are a thing now, and we have Everfest, and there are maybe like 10 to 15 relevant cards in Everfest, but it has warped everything drastically, which is good. Changes in formats are good outside of Benji. Fuck you, Benji. And then, played my last Farewell to Wraith event yesterday. Over the course of the events, my record was dog shit. I'm awful. And somehow, even with an awful record, of course, across 4 drafts, I wound up with all the heroes. So I have a full set, all 4. And on top of having the set of heroes, I opened 2 legendaries in drafts because I'm scum.
Oh, yep, sure are.
And then opened a cold foil first edition Phantasmal Footsteps out of a prize box because I'm also scum.
Disgusting.
So I think that ultimately was profitable, but so we're done high rolling those events, not for victories, but for just being as lucky as humanly possible. And we're just going to be back to trying to grind a gold foil, which is not my area of running hot. I'd probably just be better off topping packs.
Yeah, I think you should just like give up the playing game and just go into the lottery ticket game and make that your job.
Oh yeah, they're just the flesh and blood scratchers.
Yeah, or like open the packs for me and then give them to me once you open them. Don't do like the Twitch shit where you like open them and keep them, but like open them and give them to me because like you're lucky and I'm not.
Okay, well, I mean, we can talk about that later. I like ripping packs open.
Yeah,
especially the Everfest ones. They open so easy.
They do.
Yeah, we actually just cracked a box and it was so easy.
I just plowed through that in a heartbeat. Like, just opened 15 boxes or whatever it was, and like going like just tearing through a box once all the commons were taken care of. Like commons and rares no longer were relevant.
Right.
It was just like rip go, rip go, rip go. We ripped 2 boxes I ripped 2 boxes personally in like 7 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah. When you only care about the red dots and the yellow dots, the packs get way more like just fly through them.
You care about the orange dot, right? Is it orange? Let me look.
Is it yellow or orange? It might be orange.
So here's a Grandeur of Valahai. What's more orange?
Okay. What are legendaries?
That's legendary.
Oh, what are fables?
No, that's fable.
Yeah,
legendaries are yellow. Legendaries are yellow. Fables are like an orange diamond.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yep. Okay. I've never opened one, so I have no idea.
Well,
I've only bought one on TCG Player once.
Not that many.
That's funny. I played in an armory on Tuesday. I went 0-3. It was great. Had a blast. Played against 2 people that I'm like very familiar with playing, and then 1 person that I'm not familiar with playing with, and that was fun to like just play more games with that guy. He's actually the guy that runs all of the local events for that store. And like we talk, like I know who he is. We say hey, but like we got to chat like about Flesh and Blood and about like life, so that was cool. I'm mad about the way that I played in those games because now as I'm playing more than I have before, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like comfortable with like cards and like playing around things and like setting up long-term game planning as opposed to just playing my turn the turn cycle.
We have expectations now.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if I have expectations to win because I certainly don't play as much as to like say I think I should win this tournament. Like I don't play enough for that.
Sure.
But like I definitely have the basics down, like the fundamental playing basics down. Now that when I make mistakes on those areas, I get upset. And we were playing the Ninja Mirror, and I played around a Razor Reflex for like 4 turns. I mean, it might be the 4 best turns of any card game I've ever played, where I knew he had it. I played around it. I was dead if I didn't play around it correctly, and I was whittling him down it was great. I played so well. And then on the last turn where it mattered the most, because all I have to do is play around it and then I win because he's Kodachi locked, I just don't play around it. And I die to a Razor Reflex. And I don't know what happened in my brain that made me think like, oh yeah, don't block, just defense react. I don't know if it's because like we had gotten into a cadence and my head like stopped thinking and I just went to heuristics. I don't know. But I was really mad at myself because like I did the right thing for so long and I was right for so long, and like it's just frustrating. But it was like a good frustrating, and that like, oh yeah, you're an idiot, and that's better than say 2 months
Not
ago.
knowing, yeah, sure.
Like then guessing and being like, oh, I guess he had a Razor Reflex. No, I knew he had it for 4 turns, so I'm mad at myself, but it feels like reasonable to be mad at myself, and like that's fun.
It is.
I didn't play otherwise other than that, but I did spend a lot of time looking at deck lists and like reading discords and stuff, which I don't typically do. It's not typically the way I engage with like games or content. So I did do that. Did some other things rather than travel for like testing and tournaments this week.
Sure.
But it was a good week of Flesh and Blood regardless.
Yeah, it's been weird because this reminds me like because you and I both ground Magic at least a fairly competitive level. And it reminded me of the times that I would spend playtesting for hours in Magic in preparation of events. And it reminded me, and I think this helped me with my game a lot, about how important it is to be a good playtest partner. Because if you make continuous mistakes in playtesting, you're not giving good information to your partner you're testing with. And because of how I focus on giving the most I can by not playing my best in those situations and holding myself to that standard, I'm doing the person across from me a disservice. So that a lot. I mean, I just started playing way tighter than I had before because of that, and that's probably just a very good thing for going forward.
Yeah, one of my friends, I don't know if his real name is out on the show or not. So Blitz Monkey in our Discord, he said to me on Tuesday, "Hey, you've played a lot cleaner than you ever have," and that felt like really nice to hear. He did like a very good turnaround and came back from behind to beat me with Illusionist with Prism, and so I was a little upset that I lost a game that I think I was winning for a long bit. But he said, "Hey, like results aside, you played better than like you have," and that felt really nice to hear from like somebody that I play a lot with and like talk about games in general a lot with. So that was a good step this week and made me feel similar to how you're describing, in that like it does neither of us any good if like the person you're playing is like a donkey, right? So it feels good to be like removing the donkey status.
Not
a little bit.
Used the term donkey to describe somebody in a card game in a very long time, and I'm sad about that because donkey was one of my favorite expressions.
Yeah, I mean, is it bad now? Like, I know that, like,
I don't know.
as a public consciousness has, like, evolved and we probably should be more conscious about the things we say, but I can't imagine that, like, surely no pack mules are listening to this podcast.
No, probably not.
Okay.
We're probably safe from barnacles, potatoes, and pack mules. So
okay, so those are in the area in the clear to make fun of.
I hope so, because if they're not, then it's like, damn it, why?
I don't want like the American Pack Mule Association to like cancel us, you know?
Right, and you can clearly look at me in my size and understand that I love starches and carbs, so the potato is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, right, like people that are on keto, you're actual sociopaths. How do you do it?
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's good people on keto that are trying to make changes in their life, and I appreciate
definitely,
that. But
I don't know how you do it.
I don't either. I got nothing.
Yeah.
No beer?
No bread?
Like, I'm out.
Just bread? You go to a restaurant, you're like, yeah, I'll have like the steak and asparagus because you're on keto, and they're like, all right, here's a bread basket, and you're like, oh, like
asparagus is great too, though. But
asparagus is great.
Yeah.
I'll never
so like
asparagus.
At some point in time, we all just need to come to the consensus and understanding that the best food combination is just bread plus butter. That's it.
Yes.
We can just end it. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything else you eat in addition to your bread and butter is literally gravy. Like,
well, actual gravy sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes in addition to,
but I've sopped up some gravy with that shit. That's great.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have the bread and butter, then your meat with the gravy on top of it, and like an open face sandwich.
Oh,
Jesus,
right.
man, you are
Okay.
speaking my language.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Rein
Yeah.
it back in. This is not a
All
food
right.
podcast.
Mm.
Jordan, what else
Canopy?
did you do? Because you have not spoken about what you actually did, and I'm
Oh,
waiting for you
Lord.
to tell the people.
So Abby and I have this understanding that every box we have, for the most part, virtually all of them since the beginning of time, whether it's a sports card box, whether it's trading cards, whatever, we crack boxes together. What's one of the things in our relationship we like to do is crack packs. Whether the other one of us plays the game or indulges in the hobby or not. And I sold half of a case to a friend of mine over the weekend. And
Oh no.
I brought him the case and I told him he could pick the two. And we decided that he would open the two there and I would open the other two and decide who like had the better half. Abby was not there. I was at a friend's birthday, like cube draft. We were drafting Magic Cube. And Abby was in Toledo, like being a family person. And I cracked 2 boxes without Abby, and she would like me to admit that publicly to the world, apparently.
1000%. Jordan committed the original sin. If you thought the marital strife episode was bad.
Is there more to this story, Jordan?
Oh, yes, there is.
Wait, what is the more to the story?
The one of the boxes that gave away had the
Cold Foil Bravo.
Cold Foil Bravo.
Yeah, one of the boxes we sold had Cold Foil Bravo in it.
Not only did you commit a mortal sin
right
by opening said boxes without Abby,
right,
you also sold the box that paid for the case.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So we did agree to sell the 2 boxes. Let me be clear. I didn't just unilaterally decide to sell these 2 boxes. We'd agreed to
At
it.
least there's that.
And I just like let Morgan pick, which Abby agreed was the correct decision to let Morgan pick the 2 boxes.
You can't let Jordan hand it out because he gives away his luck every time he does.
Well, you can't. Apparently, you can't let Morgan pick either.
Right. So the error was that I selected the case to bring to the party. So like that was the original, like everything else from there was set by destiny. So the fact that I chose the case to bring, because we had 2 cases to select from, and I brought the one that had the Cold Foil Bravo on it.
You lost your coin flip.
Yeah, horribly.
Twice. Really.
Yeah, over 2 on coin flippers, man. We do still have 3 boxes remaining of Everfest to like crack.
I have, be clear.
Yeah, because I guess I've done 2 boxes, so Abby will get the balance of the boxes.
We'll have to make sure there's at least 1 box for each of us in Indianapolis to play the horrific drinking game on Friday and see if we're hungover on Saturday.
Yeah, we're just gonna buy one in Indy. I think we're gonna buy 2 more in Indy and play our
Let's go
or whatever. Yeah, and just be degenerate. Gotta get that YouTube content, or something. But yeah, that is what Abby considers to be the biggest stressor in our marriage at the moment. It would be
it's boxes. Rude.
We have it pretty good. If me opening Everfest boxes is the height of our stress.
I would never. There's just
It's amazing to me that you 2 are married, and I'm still Abby's favorite co-host on this.
1000%.
It's absurd, to be honest. Should be a crime.
Yeah, well, Abby, what did you do?
I opened some boosties. So we got the product that we remembered that we ordered. We didn't get until middle of last week. So I opened the shield. The name is escaping me.
The Lagmite.
That one. And then I finished we had some various other cards, but that was obviously the big one. So then I finished my 2 cases, and Jordan was very slow on his, so he gave me 3 packs to open from his, and I cracked another legendary.
Silver Palms?
So, yes. So that is why Jordan, I always make Jordan hand it out, because I benefit when he does so. So I got to crack both of those, which he was not happy about.
Yeah, out of my box. Again, I do not open good things.
He does not. Fair. He does not. But that's really all I did. Jordan, I might have played a game. I don't remember.
We did. You played the new Stravo.
Oh yeah, I played the new Bravo and never once had all 3 elements. It was great.
Yeah, the Captain Planet is sort of busted once you can Captain Planet on a regular basis. So
that's awesome. Somebody in our Discord was saying that the highs of that feel like you're invincible, and then the lows feel like you're a weird draft deck.
It is, yes. There are versions of the deck that are literally Tales of Arya Draft Chaff plus a few random cards. And yeah, when you are coming in with something as terrible as an Autumn's Touch for 9 dominated, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, at the worst case, they just played a 9 dominate for 3. So, like, and now I'm going to probably hammer next. So,
That's the ideal. Yep.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
then hammer them.
Yeah.
Whatever. Don't care.
Like my buddy that I taught the game to very recently, it was his like 3rd or 4th game lifetime, and he was playing Stravo and I was playing Ninja, and he did it literally, I think the game was 6 turns long, he literally did it 6 times. And Ninja's Kodachis do 0 damage against that deck.
Right.
And he did it 6 times and just casted a dominate thing and swung with a hammer every time, and that was it.
And just breaks your back.
That was it. I literally made no decisions, neither did he. And that was great. It was the way Richard Garfield intended.
That he did not design this game.
The way James White intended.
Oh my god.
Well, that is definitely a common statement made in Magic tournaments or Magic events or anything where there was something too busted. And just like, yeah, just as Garfield intended.
Yeah, just the way Richard Garfield intended. So, which is really funny when people refer to older cards like that he designed, because Richard Garfield
literally intended.
Yeah,
yes,
right. Like Time Walk, like, oh, just as Richard Garfield intended. Well, like, yes, he did make.
Yes,
Time
he did
Walk.
intend that.
Anyway,
but he didn't intend Oko.
No, or Omnather.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag not a magic pod, but yeah.
All right. Yep. Enough magic.
Magic.
So we'll get into the news. So the collection center for Everfest is up. We'll link the website link in the show notes so that you can pull it up. But it's got a list, obviously, of all of the card options that you could get, and then it has the full rates for each rarity, I guess.
Let's put a minute on that. So, Abby Jordan.
Yep.
How many boxes of Everfest have you opened?
So 6, 10, 16. Abby, is that right? I knew you were going to ask this, and I should have definitely prepared this. We had 2 cases get here last week. We opened a case before that, 3 cases, 4 cases, 4.5 cases, so it's 18 boxes. And I sold 2, so 16. 16.
Okay.
Well, but we haven't opened 3 of them yet.
So. You're correct. We've opened 13. We have 3 more.
13. We have 3 more.
Yep.
And so legendaries are 1 per 160 packs on this instead of 1 per 96, which is weird.
Which is 1 per every 6.6 boxes.
Right. And how many legendaries did you open?
2? 2. Yeah, 2.
So 2. I have opened 15 boxes of Everfest, and I've opened 5 legendaries.
That's pretty good. 1 per 3 is decent.
1 per 3 versus... I don't understand these pull rates, because if you look at the Majestic too, 1 per 20 or 1 per 4 packs, right? I'm seeing boxes with 9.
Yeah, I've had a lot of Majestics in my thing.
Yeah.
Which, and maybe this is only factoring in the non-foil Majestics, but I'm just not sure what that rate actually equates to. Because the last box of Everfest I opened was a legendary, 2 foil Majestics, and 7 other Majestics, along with an additional cold foil. And it's like, that doesn't equate to these numbers. So either I'm scum, these numbers aren't quite right, or both.
Yeah, so I guess general math principles would say both, right? That you just like ran hot and someone else somewhere else is like running poor. But I've read a lot on Twitter that your experience is very common. And it could just be like sample size, right? Like, we don't have access to all the data, but a guy I sat next to at the Armory opened 6 packs, and he opened 6 Majestics. In just 6 packs he yoinked from the box. That same box also had a legendary. So it could be very much a feast or famine, and these are what the averages work out to be. Yeah, 1 per every 6.6 feels not stellar to me.
No, I'm very glad that I'm done opening this set. Obviously I ran hot, which is great, but the other end of this is that I don't want to play the odds on this one anymore.
Oh no,
with the way
yeah.
this looks.
We need 10 more cards to complete the set, including Dullcap and the Fable. And I would, if I hadn't stolen 2 boxes from the depths of our marriage, I would like to have sold the boxes that we have remaining.
Oh, we're not. Because
No, you
You
did
did
this
this-
to yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to live with the consequences of your actions.
Even if I sell these 3 boxes at, or even if we sold these 3 boxes at 80, like I could finish everything but the Fable for 240. You know,
Oh,
for
easy.
the 240. Yeah, like it's seriously like 8 Majestics at that point in a Dullcap. You would easily come in at under 240. So
Right.
But and they're like singles of Majestics, so I have to like run really hot in these boxes that we're gonna open.
Yeah, I mean the hardest one is was it Swarming Gloomvale is the current most expensive Majestic.
Ooh, foil one of those just sitting there.
It's like a $20 some odd foil.
That's sweet. Yeah. Otherwise, like, I think the cold foil numbers is about correct. Maybe it's, in my experience, I've opened more than 1 per 16 packs.
2 per box. I thought was pretty common.
Yeah. So I guess that checks out. Anything else seem weird? Not really.
That was really it, I think.
It does seem very feast or famine based on Twitter.
Yep.
And maybe that's a consequence of the carnival slot being weird. I don't.
That's where the Bravo is.
Yeah.
That's where.
Yeah. I'm just saying that too. I don't even know if that's true. Like,
Yeah.
The math might not work out there, but
where your extended darts are.
Yeah, but it's fine, I guess.
Actually, where your cold foil amulets and shit are too, isn't it?
No, I believe no, because if you look at this sheet, there's a cold foil section on here. 1 per 16 packs. It's separate than the carnival. Well, maybe. I don't know. I hope not. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew. I didn't know this as I'm just looking at this. Earthlore bounty is 50% less normal than the other Majestics.
So that one has a lower drop rate.
It says literally 50%. That's kind of crazy, actually. Because
There's a few of those on there.
Oh, really?
Skull Crushers. Earthlore Bounty, Mask, all the equipment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's literally just like legendary minus.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because that's in cold hand, of which you have several.
I have 3 cold foils and a normal one, which I have a bunch of the Dreadbores. I have a lot of all of these that say they're short runs, except for
Earthwar Bounty's the only one I don't have a ton of.
I literally have 5 Kraken Aether Veins between cold foils and regulars. Yeah. I have 2 normals and then 3 cold foils. Just like
I have a bunch of Skull Crushers is the one I have a bunch of.
I guess that goes back to our conversation. Some of this seems really weird, right? Some of the print cycles seem really strange. Like the fact that I have a bunch of 2 of these short print run things, but I don't have any Earthlore bounties after all these boxes. Like,
right.
Strange. I don't know if we'll ever know the full details of it, but that's really interesting.
It's not in their best interest to let us know the full details.
No deal. Yeah, and there's no way we'll ever know. Yeah. We never learned that kind of stuff with Magic. I doubt we'll ever learn it with.
I mean, we learned a lot. We know a lot more with Fab than we ever did with Magic, as far as rates and print runs and shit like that goes, of just being public information.
Because they don't have a Magic doesn't do this collector's page thing. Yeah, where they literally say, "Hey, here is the actual data that you can expect." Pretty cool.
In addition to that, we also have a rules and policy update. We will again link the link for this in the show notes so that you can take a look at it. But the biggest thing in it is you can now concede in games. It does say that with the change, there are still a process that needs to be applied. So a judge must still be called over to oversee the concession to ensure that the player has not been pressured to concede. You cannot ask for a concession after decks have been presented, and a player cannot concede without being disqualified after time is called without a genuine reason as to why they need to stop playing.
So I don't like half measures.
Yeah, they almost did the right thing.
Yeah. And as somebody that doesn't like half measures, this feels like a half measure. Mainly because of the after time thing.
Yep.
And then the awkwardness that comes with calling a judge for this specific thing. I will freely admit, and I mean, I'm a entirely flawed human, as we all are. And there are times where I understand that circumstances are starting to impact my mental state to a degree that I am about to probably go down a very dark road. And it is best for me to extricate myself from the situation. If that's the case, I would prefer to just be able to concede and walk away without having to extend the process.
Yeah, for sure. Totally get that.
And this feels like it's preventing that from happening. The last thing I would want to do if I were in that mental state, which again, it's not common or anything. It's just, it's possible, right? I am human.
Sometimes you go on life tilt and need to.
Yeah, I'm not a fucking robot, as opposed to what everybody thinks I am. If I was a robot, I'd just be a bender. But but if I had to call a judge to explain to them that if I don't concede this game currently, I am probably going to berate my opponent into the concrete. So I would like to not play this game anymore. I don't want to have to do that. I want to say, okay, you got me, good game, and walk away.
And leave, yeah.
And I don't think I'm alone in that. I don't think I'm the only person that has the potential to feel like, okay, this situation is no longer tenable for me, and I need to remove myself. It's a half measure. And the other problem with the after time is called is that after time is, sometimes you're not seeing the clock, you're engaged in the game, and you and your opponent both realize that they can't win or you can't win, and the other can win on the next turn if they were to get another turn, but they won't. But that concession is now prevented, and you both have to take a loss. And a loss that's worse for both players than actually losing.
Then if I had just conceded to you, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That also doesn't sit well. So I think I'm in the position that I would rather them have taken no measure than a half measure. Because I, again, just despise half measures.
Sure.
So I think that's where I stand on this one. I'd like to see the rest of the CR to know what's going on. But I think that they could probably quickly amend this and understand that, okay, well, we didn't do enough. And there are certainly instances where it's like you're staring down a position where you're Kodachi locked or something. And it's like, okay, well, this is just going to go on for another 10 minutes and I'd rather get a hot dog or whatever. Or a salad for those who are not as nitrate obsessed as I am. So they, I get that. Like this is good for that part. But I think that you're with the whole having to call a judge over to oversee the concession. I understand the wanting to prevent people from being bullied or threatened or pressured into a concession, but judges' time is also precious answering actual rules questions and questions in gameplay. Then coming over and you go, I would like to concede.
Yeah, it's going to devolve into the judge going, hey, how can I help you today? You're going, I'm going to concede. The judge goes, see you later.
Right.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know. Judges are already so strapped for time and events. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that when they write this, because they say you can't concede after time is called without a genuine reason. I know that genuine reason refers back to their previous list of like, you don't feel safe or an emergency has happened or like something immediately timely requires your attention, right? Like, I know that that's what they're referring to, but the idea that like, I just don't want to play anymore and I would like to not punish my opponent for that reason is not a genuine reason is bananas to me. Like, let me have the agency of like, I think this goes back to what you were saying. Just let me have the agency to dictate with my tournament how I will. And I get the game theory reasons behind why these things exist. There was some talk in our Discord about people that didn't know that this existed and it felt very unintuitive to them, and I completely get that. Because the idea that the rules will not allow you to not play anymore is nuts.
It's bonkers.
Yeah, right. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave, says the Flesh and Blood comprehensive rules.
Yeah, Hal has spoken. Fuck.
Yeah. James White's version of Hal is, nope, you, the only way to win is to not play the game, you know?
My phone has me Kadachi locked, and I'd like to concede, and it's like, no, you're Kadachi locked. You must stay in the lock.
I'm a little disappointed that you didn't acknowledge my two good 80s movies references, but...
Well, I caught the Hal one. What's the other one I missed?
The only way to win is to not play. The War Games reference.
The War Games, right.
That's
oh, God. Matthew Broderick at his second best.
That movie's a banger. Let me tell you, what's his first best?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Wait, a player still cannot ask for a concession after decks have been presented? What does that mean?
That means you can't present decks, see what your opponent's playing, and go, oh, would you like to just concede to me? Like...
Oh, you can't ask for one. Sorry, I read that.
Right.
I read that. My brain is slow. I was like, wait, if I can't do it during a game, what's the point? No, I read it wrong. You can't ask for one.
You can't ask for it. You can ask for it.
I think that's fine. I don't think I've ever asked for one in my life. Only if the guy ever led with, like, I might just concede because I don't think I could make top 8. I've probably said something like, yeah, I would like that, you know, but I don't think I'd ever be like, will you concede? I don't know if I have or not.
I definitely have. Almost always in a situation where it's okay. You know, we've been in a game that has been very tense and back and forth. I am going to win next turn, and I would appreciate if you'd concede because otherwise we're both going to take a draw and knock us both out of contention. That's about it.
That's fair. Yeah.
But
I think I've asked it sarcastically before, but like
I actually had an opponent in a TCG player 50K do that where the win was guaranteed, and I just needed one more turn. He was playing control of the deck and pretty slowly at that point. And I was like, look, I've been playing at a tremendous pace the entire game. You've been pretty deliberate, and a loss knocks us both out of day 2, or a draw knocks us both out of day 2, whereas I have inevitability and I'd appreciate if concede. He no-sirred it, thinking, oh, no, we can still draw again. And I'm like, no, we literally can't. And I explained the math. And he's just like, no, I'm comfortable with the draw. I'm like, okay. And again, we both missed.
Right, as one does.
10 years later, 8 years later, the gentleman found me at an event and went, hey, I'd like to, you might not remember me, but I'd like to apologize because I should have conceded to you 8 years ago. And I'm like,
my gosh,
the fuck?
Buddy, like, you got to let that guilt go, bud.
Yeah, no problem. Apology accepted.
Gosh.
Great.
What do you think? What do you think this guy does if he wrongs somebody in his real life?
I don't.
Oh my God. How does he deal with the guilt of, like, yikes?
I don't actually know.
I mean, that's a cool story from, like, I mean, good for him to recognize he was an idiot, but, like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time feeling bad about stuff I did yesterday, let alone 8 years ago.
Well, we know your conscience isn't exactly the stiffest board.
It's fair as well. Truth is fluid, as they say.
Yeah. Well.
So the preview of the comprehensive rules 2.0 is on the webpage, so you can go and read it. The official one comes out, I think, the 14th of March.
Yep.
Will be the official release of that.
I definitely should have had 2 beers for this podcast. I'm kind of disappointed in myself now.
Yeah, we've gotten super off track for having little thing.
Hey, we're having fun.
Hey, this is the track this is our lane, Abby. We own this fucking lane. This
is the FAP lane.
I own the lane, and I steer you in the correct directions.
We're trailblazers, Abby. We are trailblazers.
We're fapping our way through uncharted territory.
Nope, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not doing that.
Well, I wanted to blaze some trails, but apparently I just have to blaze a spliff.
Jesus. We will... is that legal where you are?
No, not even remotely.
Say it's not here either. They are going to release like a hot hits version of that when it comes out, and so we'll definitely talk about it on here.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of technical stuff. I assume it's a lot of just clarifications, things that we know how they work. But yeah,
hopefully with
those are the bangers.
less errors than the release was.
We are providing an auto shuffler to all players with small hands, so they can play classic constructed formats.
Hey, that's all I've ever wanted.
Should I make her practice when we play classic constructed? I refuse to like.
I hate it.
Deck.
Wow.
I absolutely hate it.
Marital Strike 2.0.
Seriously. The Battle Hardened in Philadelphia at the SCG Con is happening currently. So hopefully next week we'll have the results and we can go over deck lists and such. But we obviously don't have anything right now because it's still going on. Do we?
The live Twitter. I've been following Twitter. Apparently Levia is doing well.
What?
I don't
seriously
believe that.
I think we're on our way to getting her first point. And
I don't believe it.
Then it's been a lot of Prism and a decent amount of Runeblade. I've not heard a lot about Starvo showing up to do God's work. So it is not
the People's Champion.
It is not a reimagining of Magic Mike at this point. It is simply a lot of goth kids drawing in their basement and their very devout mother shaming them for it while there's a brute banging on the door.
I do not even have a kind of frame of reference with which to craft that in my head.
How? What?
Would the brute banging on the door to the goth mother? Did I mishear?
No, the goth is the kid.
Okay.
That's Viscerai. The mom is the devout mother, which is Prism.
Okay.
And the brute banging on the door is Levia.
Sure. Why is the brute banging on the door?
Because Levia's doing well, and she's never done well before. She's trying to get there.
I'm just trying to imagine. Get in the house. I'm trying to imagine in the fantasy world that you've created why brute would be.
This is real world. They're pounding, not knocking.
Why are they pound? What do they need from the goth girl? What
they need to get into direct face. They want to break. They want to break them. They want to break the house.
Oh, so they want to beat up the goth girl and their Christian mom.
They want to beat up both. They need that point. They need that one living legend point to be legitimized and put Azalea directly in the dumpster.
I'm sorry. I've created this story in my head now where there is this goth girl and this devout religious mother, and there is a brute-ish person banging on the door, and I want to know the backstory of that. Okay, fuck this card game. I don't care. But
I'm going to write it in the Discord. Anybody that wants to understand what this story is.
I want the fanfic.
I'm going to put the fanfic sometime next week in the write-ups and tournament section of our Discord. So please join our Discord to read this fanfic. Yes, that I'm going to write about the goth daughter, the devout mother, and the brute banging on the door.
There we go. I'm about it.
I have no idea what just happened.
No one else does either. It's fine.
Okay, good. Moving on. Our Reddit thread of the week this week is, I don't have it ready. Okay, there we go. From savings-historian-46. We will link the Reddit thread in the show notes. They are a new player to the game and want to figure out the best way to buy single cards without getting ripped off.
TCGplayer.com.
Yep, that's
your local game store first. But
yeah, I mean, here we only have one local game store that sells Flesh and Blood singles, and they do not have much of a selection just because they're not ripping cases. They're selling their cases.
Sure.
They're not ripping cases to replenish their stock or anything. I just traded in a lot of my bulk to another local game store so they can get started on that process so that we can have a singles market start to develop here. But the local game store option is basically non-existent here. I am almost entirely TCG player because of buyer protections, etc. There are some very reputable Facebook sellers and such if you're so inclined to buy off social media. I've heard the Discord does pretty well as far as that goes. People have not had a lot of bad experiences from what I understand. but I've never done it personally.
Oh, the
And then
official Flesh and Blood
obviously,
Discord.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there are obviously websites that you can go to that are all listed in that Reddit thread, but almost your best bet is either tcgplayer.com for your singles. If something has spiked and has spiked on TCG Player, check the Channel Fireball Marketplace because that marketplace reacts a lot slower.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So you can still pick things up at their pre-spike price if you are quick enough.
One of the good suggestions in here was if you're just starting out and need like your commons and rares base, to find like a guy that plays a lot or a person in your local store, and like they'll probably just give you a playset of commons and uncommons or commons and rares.
So
yeah,
what we do is after every draft, we find the new player and we bulk them up. We take all the bulk and we go slam it in front of them and go, "You have this now. You are now forced to accept this."
Rares and lower, right? Like is that like that's bulk to me now? Is rares and lower?
I'm even at supers and sometimes majestics, and just like here, I don't care.
Yeah, I need to look at my Welcome to Wraith lists and stuff and find out. But
and so like some of it was like all the chaff out of an Everfest box I'm like here, and the player's like, there are foils in here, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't care.
Yeah, please do not let them in my house.
Right, and so that's, I mean, like I said, it's great to just hand the new players so that their collection gets started. So I just do that. If in 10 years this game is still going strong and red sync belows from Welcome to Wraith Unlimited are $180, I'm going to be sad about the $1,000 that I gave up it. No, I won't give a shit. But right, like that's it. I mean, what's the
right
opportunity cost to get somebody else into the game and make it so that they can actually play on a regular basis, so it expands your community, is, in 10 years when I'm likely just a hot mess anyway. I'm not going to stop and think about that one time that I gave away some sync belows. It's not going to cross my mind.
Right. That was kind of the I don't like eBay for TCGs.
Fake is
huge. Fake is huge. Overpriced is huge. It's harder to check prices on eBay than it is. I mean, I guess you could always cross-reference with TCG Player, but absent your local store or like established trading players that TCG Player is the gold standard. If you don't get cards within a certain window, they'll refund you. It's very easy to like then pay later if they show up if you want. It's very easy to get,
And our European listeners that are out there, Card Market, I think, is into,
yes,
or I know is into Flesh and Blood now.
Yep, they just started recently, I think.
Yep, that is the European equivalent of TCG Player for the most part. Actually, kind of better if I'm gonna be honest. So Card Market. Turns out that this is now just a Magic podcast, but when I would need to buy European, specifically like foreign Magic cards for a reason, like I need black bordered duels or something because I'm an idiot, they're much cheaper on Card Market. So I have a friend in Denmark that would buy them for me.
And then ship them. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. What do you think about
we're talking like 40% less? Like it's a lot.
Oh, dramatically cheaper. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. What do you think about things like the Facebook groups? Do you ever use those?
So
I've sold in them. I've never bought in them.
I do pretty frequently, mainly, but I have a list of people or sellers that I trust, and some of them are from the Magic days where I knew, I know their reputation. Some of them are, I know them as a vendor, and I'm totally cool with it. Like I know who they are. I'll find them at the next event if something's wrong, and then they'll just make it
fix
right.
It. Yeah.
So those are the ones I don't worry about. But otherwise, I don't like, especially trades. I do not really like engaging in trades on Facebook.
Oh no, not at all.
Because getting burned is real life. I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've actually traded cards on Facebook because the comfort level is just not there.
Yeah, the inability to have like PayPal
protection
services
or anything.
Yeah. If you ever do through like Facebook, make sure that you send it as a business transaction, not as friends and family. if you're new to that space, because if it's friends and family and you were like, hey, this guy scanned me, PayPal does not give a shit.
No, they don't care at all.
But if you say, hey, this was a business thing and they never sent it, they will
They're
help
buyer
you.
protection.
Yeah.
There's
a fee
and again,
for
caveat,
it,
right? But the caveat being that, again, if you know the person and trust them, then that's different.
right?
That's at your own risk. Like you're accepting the level of risk at that point.
Right. I guess the last place is our Discord actually has a buy sell trade section that people are always in there hounding for cards. So
and there's a lot of Columbus. Fuck, help me out there. What's a plural? Somebody lives in Columbus.
Idiots.
Fair. There's a ton of
We're
idiots
all dumb that live here,
and
not
and
the
Iowans.
people not the people in our Discord. They're brilliant and lovely. The people that live in the city are awful sometimes. But
Sure. So there's a bunch of idiots and Iowans.
Wait a second.
What? You're the one that did it.
No, I guess I didn't know Iowans would also be wrapped up in it. So
well, I mean, you probably could have waited.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, would you like to amend it? I'll give you an opportunity right now to give me a different plural for people who live in Columbus.
I'll stand by what I said.
All right, idiots and Iowans, and so the hosts of this podcast can help with some facilitation at that point too. So I think our buy sell trade thread would be a pretty safe place too. Yeah. But that's also biased, obviously.
Right, and that is also my legal brain can't ever turn off. You're totally at your own risk on that, and I'm not assuming anything from your trades.
Any risk,
not at all. I'll help you. I'll help you for sure. Depends, I guess. Yeah, but
I'll listen to whatever the story is. Oh, hell.
I guess that's fair. But no, there is a lot of people that do. I think both trade and buy and sell in that thread, and it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, decent amount. I've sent cards personally out to at this point Australia, Oceanside, California, which Jordan got credit for on Twitter. I can't believe that shit either. It's just like, and I get it.
They're my favorite listener for the setup.
Leah is okay.
Yeah.
And so story time is I send it out to a listener who needed a playmat, and so I sent a playmat and a little bit of a surprise. And I even wrote them a note and signed it with my name. And then they went directly on Twitter and thanked Jordan for sending them these things. And I'm just like, the fuck?
Well, then they insulted both of us though by saying Abby was their favorite host.
That's not an insult. That's not an insult. We all know that that's just the case. Like, I accept the fact that Abby's the best one here because she makes it so that we actually have a show.
That's fair.
Otherwise, you and I would go on for 3 hours about inane bullshit. We need the rails.
We'd still be talking about different starches, actually.
Yeah, you would.
God, I love starch.
That was this show, by the way.
We are not going back.
Okay.
What's your favorite bread?
Nope, Jordan.
oh, dude, a good rye.
Okay, I will come up there and unplug your microphone. So
like the Cheesecake Factory bread is
that's some good shit.
Oh, the brown one, not the.
So we got her now.
He's on board.
All right.
We're now the bread cast.
That's a W.
All right. So we have a listener question this week. It is from Sugi Time.
Sugi Time, I think.
Sugi Time. I don't know. Words are hard. Why/where did LSS draw the line between token equipment and actual card equipment?
So this one blew up the thread when this listener posted it. They chatted about draft philosophy and about like card availability, and it was. I don't check Discord super regularly some days, and I was like, "What the fuck happened in here?" Somebody tagged me.
A lot of scrolling.
Yeah, somebody tagged me in an apology for blowing up the thread, and that's when I logged in and was like, "What is the dog on fire meme?" You know,
Everything's fine.
Yeah, you would know more about this from the economy side, Logan. My biggest thought was the tokens they wanted to have available for draft, but then they wanted like powerful effects locked behind rarity for draft as well, in addition to economy, is my guess, right? Like, Windblade needs their sword, and that's about all they need. But like, if they found a skull cap, like that's fine, but they shouldn't have a skull cap in every draft.
Right. So it's accessibility. You want the ability to play your class that you drafted, and a weapon is part of the class. So that's where your token equipment is. However, for the construction environment, where the money is made effectively while you open boosties and whatnot outside of drafting, you want the ability to upgrade that token equipment. Sometimes there's no upgrade. We're looking at you, Rosetta Thorn. But at the same time, it makes it so that people at an introductory level can play the game a little bit easier. It also impacts draft, like we talked about, because you have a token, you have a hero, you have a token hero, you have a token equipment, so you always get to start with that. And anything that you would then open otherwise should be an upgrade. Again, looking at you, Rosetta Thorn, for the case where that just isn't fucking true. Although Dustblade is kind of busted still. I mean, it's
you're not going to crack that.
You're unhappy. Yeah, you're not unhappy with either of them.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you had a Dreadbore versus, or is it Dreadbore in that one? No, Shiver versus a Voltaire. Like, the Voltaire's just better than Shiver.
You tried to convince me that Shiver was better at the beginning of Tales of Aria. Do you remember that?
Yes, but that was for a certain deck.
Okay. Fair enough.
As a general vacuum, Voltaire is better, just mainly because you can fire 2 arrows a turn.
Yeah.
But a lot easier, I should say, and also have the additional arsenal slot, which Honing Hood is busted at that point.
Right.
Then you have, and then Winter's Wail is just a better Titan's Fist. I mean, it's not even
just objectively better, yeah.
Yeah, just objectively better. So those should be upgrades, right? Where you find the weapon and you're like, oh, I don't have to play the token weapon now. So I think that's where the line is, where there's supposed to be a base level plus an upgrade. Mainly because the base level enables you to play the game the way they intended to be played, as far as at a base level, and also in a constructed level. Most of the time, the upgrade is not so glaring that it's unplayable. So the difference between a Titan's Fist and a Winter's Wail is not a moonshot. It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but again, we're talking about a game that is won on the margins. This is definitely a game that is won on the margins, and because of that, you do have some weird spots where just playing the better piece of equipment is fine. And then also, I like the idea of a common cycle of equipment, because you can actually get some mitigation, and it also is a draft strategy too, so it feeds into it.
Yeah, in that thread they talked about on Discord, they went back and forth about whether that was valid or not, as like whether that was good for the game. I don't know if our conversation like encompasses that game design decision. Like, I would have to do a lot more thinking about it to know whether because right now I like drafting equipment, but if I thought about it for 10 hours, maybe I'd change my mind. I don't know. But as it stands, a lot of this is draft reasons, right?
Yeah.
So, could you imagine if you just like didn't open a Rosetta Thorn and you drafted all these Runeblade cards? Oh my god. It'd be terrible. It'd be terrible.
Yeah. It'd just be god awful.
Yeah.
But I also understand that, like, the question, to put it in relevancy, if you open a pack of Welcome to Wraith in the first pack, and you see no relevant rare, so no bomb, no majestic, no legendary, but you see a red Sink Below or a Barkbone Strapping, which one are you taking?
Barkbone Strapping.
No, it's Sink Below every time for me.
Those are close, right?
They're pretty decent and close, yeah. But like, as an example, like, I take the Barkbone Strapping, and now I'm passing a Sink Below. Sink Below is never gonna pass again. But if you happen to be in a spot where people that wanted Barkbone Strappings already have them, those will get passed. The Sink Belows are never getting passed ever again.
Oh, because like there's no number that you would stop
it's generic, at. Right. Yeah, it's generic, it's lots for 4, and it's card selection. Like, it checks so many stupid boxes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, there is a lot of equipment that could be in that equipment slot, but there are more commons that could be in that common slot. So like,
is it cross straps or Barkbone Strapping, the one that you pop
for two
heart and cross straps? That's what I'm thinking of. Is heart and cross straps.
I knew what you meant. The one that's 2 less resources for your next thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know what you meant. Yep. Not that this is a limited pod, but I'd be curious about like doing a breakdown of like where does that change with what equipment changes that order for you? If anything, did the Snapdragon scalers change it or anything like that? But
No, I don't think
know.
so. But that can be just a discussion in Discord. But
yeah,
I don't think having other pieces of equipment would change that. Because the Heart and Crossroads actually is good in every class outside of a really specific warrior build.
yeah. Anyway, we've deviated from the plot, but yeah, I think it's draft and to some large degree economy for classic constructed, but whether there are good merits or bad merits to that is an LSS problem. Yeah, which is fun to think about. It's definitely fun to think about.
I like thinking at times. I mean,
sometimes not a lot. Just give me bread, to be honest, and I'm good.
Yeah, I'm very Descartesian at that point. I think, therefore I am, and what I think about is bread.
Yeah.
You know what I think about?
Giving shit away.
I sure do.
Oh, a good
no
one.
Said anything for a while, and I was like, "Oh boy."
I was mid-drink. That was the problem. I knew where you're going.
Well, you should have spit it out. It would have been more entertaining.
There are so many things I could say right now, and I just do not
I would appreciate it if we just moved on. Yeah.
So, for our next giveaway, we are giving away a Vexing Quill Hand cold foil. We will be doing it on Twitter, so you will need to like and retweet. 6 people have already entered, so
maybe recorded the fucking episode.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. I wanted to pull it up to have the exact number, and it is currently 6. One person just liked it, so you do have to do both. So if that's you, go back and retweet.
Can I name and shame? Hold on, let's find out.
It is the pinned tweet now as well. So, like there is a good amount of folks that have done this already. That's pretty awesome. So,
crazy.
Yeah, definitely crazy. So.
Okay, well, people like us, I guess. I don't know. People like Abby. I should just be real about this. Fair.
In addition to that, we will have the seat that we will give away for the Realm 5K in Mansfield. So keep your eyes out, and we will have more info on that as we get closer. But go and enter for the Vexing Quill Hand on Twitter.
And just as a spoiler for the Realms 5K, I just got a DM the other day about potential prize structures, and it's juicy, and there's some other cool stuff that's going to be happening. This event's going to be a banger if you're in the Midwest area. So,
you're going to make me come for this? Is this going to happen?
It's the week after Indy, man. Like, if you want to do it, I would love to. We would obviously love for you to be here, but that's a lot. That's degenerate level shit.
I mean, I'm in my 40s. How degenerate can I be? Oh, well, never mind. I'm still me.
And baseball still might happen.
Exactly.
So.
Oh God, I'm so. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, not a baseball pod.
This is not a baseball podcast.
That could be 65 minutes later.
Hey, support your local unions. That's it.
Yeah, yes. All right. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FleshPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can shoot us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com.
Do you have an email yet?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Still waiting for the first person. No pressure.
Hey, if your email is appropriate and it's the first one, I'll read it on air. There you go. Bang. Send me an
there
email.
It is.
If it's inappropriate, I'll read it on air.
Fair enough.
There you go.
If it's Gaelic hymn, Abby will read it on air.
I will do
appropriate, inappropriate. I just picked Gaelic hymn. That was what my mind thought about.
I was about to say, like, why would Gail Kim, a professional women's wrestler...
No, Gaelic hymn.
Oh, Gaelic hymn.
Yeah, I just picked an arbitrary thing that it could be, and Gaelic hymn is what came to mind first.
Oh, I was thinking that, like, Abby's a giant Gail Kim stan.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, I mean, it's not a bad choice.
No,
but...
it's a weird thing to stand, but not bad. Yeah, no. Gaelic hymn is in, like, the music genre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know why that.
I understand where that.
No, to be fair, to be fair, Gail Kim is just an obscure of a reference as like Gail Kim. So,
yeah,
like yeah.
If you send us an email and it's not bad, we will read it on the podcast. I don't know how we got so off topic there, and there was no stopping that. So sorry, everyone. You can find me on Twitter at AbbyD83. I don't know the last time I tweeted, but you can look and tell me. It was sometime last week, I think.
You liked my Wordle scores. Does that count?
Oh yeah, you had a goated one. I did.
Did you have a 2 or a 1?
He had a 2.
It was a hard 2 though.
You tweeted your Wordle score yesterday, and then on Friday you tweeted, or on Thursday you tweeted your stalagmite opening.
There you go.
There you go.
See? I try to remember to do it sometimes.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Bang.
Logan, what's your Twitter?
At Logan Peterson, Petersen. I always have to spell it because even when I do, people still spell it wrong. I tweet Wordle scores. I have yet to miss on a Wordle. 40 straight,
Oh, wow.
going strong. Some sixes, so there's been some close calls, but there's twos and threes too. No ones. I have yet to spike, but pretty soon here I'll be tweeting very harshly at the baseball owners and commissioner because I'm getting fucking livid.
Yep.
And otherwise I'm tweeting about basically flesh and blood. So, and randomly basketball sometimes. I'm wearing a Spurs hoodie right now.
I guess it is trade deadline season, right? Then that just happened.
Right. That is the why. And then also very active in our Discord, trying to mitigate conversation, but most of the time just watching it happen because sometimes it's just a lot of fun.
Mitigate the disasters.
Yeah, there's very few disasters, but there's been a couple of times I kind of had to give gentle nudges, but most of the time it's very respectful, very intelligent, very well conversed. Nobody has called anybody else a fucking idiot or anything that I'm aware of.
Absolutely gonna go in and call you that right now.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll just have to ban you.
So
ban.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, our Discord is really chill, man.
Yeah, I'm actually proud of everybody in it for how well they've acquainted themselves in their opinions and been respectful of others' opinions. So very happy about it. Jordan?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at I'm Jorman. I am JORMAN. Every variation of Jordan and Jordan Kennedy that I'm comfortable with has been taken already, so we're stuck with I'm Jorman for a while. I am tweeting just like Logan, flesh and blood, sports, politics. I only tweet Wordles if they're ones or twos. But
have you ever gotten a one?
No, I've gotten a two a couple of times, but that was before my policy of not tweeting them every day. So,
gotcha.
No, I start with Stern. So unless Stern is ever the word,
that's interesting. Learn is mine.
That's
fair.
Mine.
And so those are both Wheel of Fortune optimized.
There's another one of the old Magic grinders that starts on Boast.
Okay, Boast is good.
Success. So
yeah. So I tweet about a lot of different stuff on there. I am the middle activist on our Discord. Logan is definitely the most involved. I am in there, and then Abby has limited office hours.
That I do.
But
she's the complaints department, though. So
she's the complaints department. Yeah, it goes into the HR disaster hellhole logistics world. So good luck finding it.
Yeah,
but
that's what it is.
Definitely interact with me on Twitter. I've been busy on there lately. It's been really fun meeting all the flesh and blood people on Twitter and all around the world. That part's dope. So
yeah, that part's great.
Yep. All right. Well, that is all we have for this week. So hop in the Discord and chat, and if not, we will talk to you next week. Bye.